Hi, I'm Donna, and I'm going to illustrate an intervention technique that uses trauma-focused therapy stories. Um, these are interventions for therapists, children, and children's caregivers. And I got it from a book by Pat Pernicano, which has many stories. I chose a story that has to do with introducing a child to the idea of coping with stress. So, according to the trauma-informed therapist that wrote the stories in this book, trauma-focused therapy stories is a groundbreaking treatment. It's a tool that trauma-informed therapists are now using with abused and neglected children, especially children that are 9 years old and older, and their caregivers. The stories are written in pretty much like third, fourth grade level, and each story illustrates concepts about trauma and guides the therapist about, how to guide the child about what the concepts are. The story that I'm going to be reading is called The Burden Bag, and it's a really good introduction about coping with stress. So the idea is that kids need to learn how to cope with stress, how to recognize it, how to deal with it. And the burden bag is about a rabbit who carries around a bag that weighs him down. And so the message is that he can learn to let go of those burdens. Okay? So I'll go ahead and read the story. The Burden Bag. One sunny day, Jack and his friends were hopping through the meadow. Jack was having trouble keeping up with the others. Jack was a young rabbit that moved as slowly as a turtle. Jack was not sick or old or physically challenged. He just moved very slowly. And even when he smiled, Jack Rabbit looked tired and sad. As Jack and his friends hopped through the meadow, they came across an older rabbit friend who was staring at Jack. He knew it was not polite to stare, but he couldn't help it. Jack was wearing a large, overstuffed, heavy backpack. He pulled on Jack's shoulders, and it sagged halfway down to the ground. It was labeled Jack's Burdens. Burdens, by the way, are problems that worry you and weigh you down. Jack Rabbit, said the friend, why are you wearing that heavy backpack? You don't run or jump like the other young. In fact, you move slower than a turtle in mud. The backpack weighs you down. You could hop faster if you took it off. Jack said firmly, no, I never take it off. And his older friend asked, do you take it off to eat? No, Jack said, not to eat. What about to sleep? No, he said, not to sleep. Well, surely you take it off to play. Jack said, a little annoyed at all the questions. I told you, I never take it off, not even to play. The older rabbit said, I can't believe a young rabbit like you could have so many burdens. Jack replied, you can look inside if you want. So the wise old rabbit opened the backpack and peered inside. There were many bags of burdens in the backpack, and each bag neatly labeled and colored permanent marker. The first bag with a blue label said stupid mistakes. The second bag with the green label said rejections. Now, rejections is something that when someone you like stops liking you back. And a third bag of burdens said family problems. The older rabbit took a peek inside the family problems bag, and he remarked, these belong to other family members. Why do you carry around someone else's problems? I like to help out, said Jack. The fourth bag of burdens, labeled in purple, smelled really awful. Imperfections. The young rabbit explained, those are things about me that aren't perfect, like my warts, my big feet, and my crooked teeth. The wise rabbit said, no one's perfect. If you want to jump like other rabbits, you need to dump these burdens. A rabbit is not meant to move as slow as a turtle. Jack begged, "I've been carrying these burdens my whole life. I wouldn't know what to do without them." "It's up to you," said the older rabbit, "but you might want to lighten your load a little bit." Jack agreed that the backpack was very heavy and it might help to lighten his load. So his friend said, "I know just the place that you can dump your burdens." His friend said, "Let's lead the way." So they hopped down a rocky path and found themselves standing in front of a beautiful lake. "Here it is, the bottomless lake," said Jack's friend. Jack said in disbelief, "No bottom?" "That's right," said his friend as he pointed. "If you throw something in, it's gone for good. And look what the sign says over there." And Jack looked over and he saw that it read, "No fishing." "I know what you want me to do," said Jack. "You want me to dump my burdens in that lake." "That's right," said his friend. Jack took the backpack off and laid it on the ground. Jack's friend reached into the backpack and handed him a burden. Jack took a deep breath and threw the burden with all his might. The burden flew out over the water and came down with a big plop. As the burden hit the lake, Jack saw big circles of ripples spreading out on top of the water. As Jack watched, his heart grew lighter and lighter. Eventually, the burden sank right down below the surface. Letting go of that first burden gave Jack courage, and one by one, he threw the other burdens in the lake. And before he knew it, he was standing on the edge of the lake with an empty backpack. And then Jack had a sudden moment of doubt. "Oh my goodness, what have I done? What will I do with an empty backpack?" And his friend said, "Throw it in too." So Jack threw his backpack into the lake and watched it sink. He felt hopeful, and he took a little hop forward. Jack thanked his friend, and he hopped home to tell his mom all about his day. "That was a really good choice," Jack's mom said. "I'm really proud of you." "Mom," said Jack, "I'm a little worried that sooner or later I'll go back to my old habits of collecting burdens." His mother replied, "I think you need a new backpack." She went to the closet and she came back out and she had a new backpack. On the front of it, it said "Blessings." "What are blessings?" asked Jack. "Blessings," said his mom, "are good things like carrots, lettuce, making new friends. And when you notice a blessing during the day, you stuff it in your bag. And at the end of the day, you can count your blessings." "I like that idea," said Jack, "but what if I have a bad day and I start collecting burdens all over again?" And his mother said, "Well, if you start to collect burdens all over again, the lake is a good backup plan. After all, you're only one rabbit." So in case you didn't know it, that's rabbit for "you're only human." It's what you say to someone when you want to remind them that no one is perfect and everyone makes mistakes. So whether you're only one rabbit or only one human, do something to lighten your load and take time to count your blessings. So the bottom line is, lighten your load and count your blessings. So some of the questions that follow the story that I would ask my children clients that are 9 and 10 years old, I would ask questions like, how are you like Jack? Or I would ask them something like, burdens are heavy, they cause stress, what burdens do you carry around? Another question could be, do you ever carry around someone else's burdens, like your mom or your dad's burdens? And give examples maybe, so they know what we're talking about. I'd also ask them something like, name 3 blessings in your life, or can you name 3 blessings? Or name 3 things that you can do to let go of your burdens. And finally, describe how you plan to count your blessings every day. I have 2 children clients that I see every week, and both of them are 9 years old. And although I haven't used this story or this technique with them, I plan to as a result of doing this technique demonstration. So I hope you got something out of it, and I'm looking forward to hearing your feedback. Thank you.